Now that you've watched the vocabulary lecture video, I want you to move on down to the dialogue section of the lesson block and open up your script. We're going to use the vocabulary and associated grammar here. So in part 1, we're using I, you, he, and she. As in, do you like this? Senuas ga negiga. And remember that question word goes second. Ha, ginuas netega. Yes, I like that. What do you like? Ohnoho da senuas. I like the cat. Dagos genuas. So, when you are asked a yes or no question about whether or not you like something, the verb will go first in the question. It's your liking that is being questioned. That's a yes or no question, so you should answer with a yes or no first. Ha, genuis netega. Then we have ohnoho da senuas. That's not a yes or no question, so there's no ga after the ohnoho da. You were asked what you like, so you would say dagos genuis. In English, it translates in a Yoda from Star Wars kind of way, the way he speaks. Cats I like is how it directly translates. In other words, the most important information in the sentence or the question goes to the front of the sentence. So now in part 2, we're using the prefix ga, which is the relationship of a thing to another thing. As in, does the dog like the cat? Dagos ga ganuas ne erhar. We see the word cat first. So we're questioning something about the cat. In this case, it's the liking, as in whether or not the dog likes it. It's tricky to get used to, but when you're being spoken to, listen to the first word in a question. This is a big hint on how to answer a question. So when you hear a question, think, what was the first word? And is it a yes or no question? And if not, then what is being questioned? And then put the most important information first in your answer. So take a look at this. Ya dagos deganuas ne erhar. No. The dog, which is last, doesn't like the cat. And the ya and the de split apart, and the noun squeezes between. The de itself attaches itself right onto the verb. So in part 3, we ask the question, who? As in, who likes that dog? Unka yenuus netega erhar. And in part 4, Unka netega raksa'a. Get used to that one. We're going to use unka a lot in our next webinar. Unka nize, who are you? Unka negega, who is this? And also in part 3, we're using nuknize right here, a particle you learned in lesson 1. So, tegenuus ne dagos, nuknize, senuus ga ne dagos. I don't like the cat. And you? Do you like it? And then we're using ezo, which means a lot, and ostonha, which means a little. In part 4, we're using some names and the words for boy and girl, raksa'a, yeksa'a, and man and woman, rungwe, yagungwe. Overall, in this lesson, you want to pay attention to sentence structure and how to answer a question, as well as how to pose a question. You also need to know how to negate a verb and a noun. Another important thing to notice when we're speaking ganyangeha. Ganyangeha is very specific. The meaning of a sentence or a question is conveyed in the words that we use. Because we have so many prefixes, it's very precise language. In English, we have far fewer personal pronouns that we use. I think maybe there's only 11. So when we speak English, we need to use other things to convey precise meaning. And we do that in English by using intonation. So this question here, senuas ga netega dagos. translates to, do you like that cat? Because the liking and the you part of the question is first. And we know it's a question. And in English, we'd say, do you like that cat? So you can hear that it's a question because of how my voice sounded. And what I'm asking about is clear in Ganyangeha, whether or not you like it. Whereas in English, we have to use intonation to convey that meaning. So in Ganyangeha, we have two completely different sentences here. Senuas ga ne tiegan dagos. Tiegan ga dagos senuas. But in English, they're written the same, but they sound different. Do you like that cat? Do you like that cat? So you can see how important word order is in Ganyangeha. Not only is word order important, but the way that you speak. So try your best. It's pretty hard to do because we're so used to it, but try your best not to use your voice rising up and down like we do in English. I have to remind myself to do that all the time. But if you get a chance to listen to first language speakers speak Ganyangeha, you'll notice that they're not using the English intonation rising up and down. It sounds very fluid and smooth.